and welcome back into the Night Lighthouse. Come on up, roll on up for a seat in the Lighthouse. Come in, sit down, relax, and allow me to talk at you. Hope everyone's doing well, hope everyone's had a good week. It's been a good week here. The half term has begun, which is the school break, the mid-term break. And those of you who are parents will know the dread that brings with the having to arrange childcare and stop them from either just vegetating in front of the TV, which secretly is the best and easiest option. But you feel so guilty about that. You feel you have to somehow apply to them some kind of morally substantive activity. So you're thinking, learn an instrument, practice the piano, do some art. But then you do that and they need input, they need assistance. It gets very tricky because sometimes sometimes you're very busy watching The Walking Dead and they're cowering in the corner screaming and crying and stuff. And you're saying, shut up and watch it. But that's not really responsible parenting. So we're going to talk about parenting. I'll give you some tips. If you are a parent, I think you're going to learn a lot from this episode. If you're not a parent or not yet a parent, bookmark this and do listen again, preferably on a different IP address. Because it helps the download numbers. But this is going to be a very educational episode. If you've heard of Dr. Spock, who I believe is good at parenting, or even Super Nanny, Channel 4's short-lived docuseries, this is going to be just like that, but in podcast form, and I am completely unqualified. So, But, I am a parent, so this is advice from the coalface here, people. This is the real deal. This isn't the stuff they say in a book, because that's what they should say. This is going to be the reality. So let's get to it. Okay, one of the first things, when they're little, it's actually quite easy. There is a bit of shit, there's a lot of snot, and spit, and vomit, which is all a bit weird and a bit yucky. And if it was anybody else, even my wife, I'd be like, you're clearing that up yourself. Do you know what I mean? But with a kid, it's a bit different, because they can't. So you have to clean it up. You can leave it. That is an option, but it is frowned upon. So that's one of the first things. But that's not so bad. Other than that, they tend to just get on with things themselves. They're fairly happy. It's fine. There is some crying in the night as well, but that goes away soon enough. They get into a rhythm. It's cool. It's fine. And anyway, if you're a bloke, just make the wife do it. Simple. That's a bit of a hint for you. Again, they don't put that in the books, but it really can be summed up. My whole attitude towards child rearing can be summed up in 6 words. Make the wife do it, which is 5 words. Make the wife do it, ! Which is also 5 words with punctuation. But still, you get the point. You can get away with it. It's cool. But after a while, they start crawling, which is charming, and then they start falling, which is hilarious. But then they start crying. Those 3 things happen in very quick concession. So, crawling, somehow tumbling, crying, okay? And then they graduate to trying to walk. You'd be amazed. That happens virtually overnight. So they go from walking, enchanting, to falling, hilarious, to crying, annoying. That's 10 seconds. It happens as quick as I've just said it, but it's far more entertaining when it happens. But then you've got to deal with the crying. That's a pain in the ass. So if you can, when you see other people's kids do it, take the most from that. Enjoy that moment, because you don't have to clean up the mess afterwards. Just do the laughing bit. Brilliant. Okay, so that takes us up to the toddler stage. You don't need to know an awful lot up to there. They'll start talking, which again is charming and hilarious. And it's just like a nonsense noise. So you can tune it out. Very much like most listeners to this podcast do, I think. Then they start learning real words. Again, it's charming. But what they do is, they're very much like a needy stand-up comedian, little kids. So they'll learn the word, they'll get a strong reaction, and so they'll just keep on doing it. And like any punchline, it's got 2 runs in it at most. Maybe 3. After that, again, tune it out. It's very easy to do. Very easy to do. Work late. That's a good tip. If you can't tolerate that, then I do suggest you begin an affair, because that will also get you out the house and take your mind off it. So again, just some good tips from the coalface there. So we've got them past the toddler stage. So far, so good. They're starting to learn proper interaction and words and sentences and stuff. they're going to need a lot more of your attention. Now, there is a stage, a sweet spot, as I like to refer to it, where they are communicating at you, but not yet fully understanding of communication enough not to realize that you're not actually engaging at all. So by that, I mean, you can continue watching The Walking Dead and just go, they're sold. You've done your job. Well done. So far, you've kept it alive. It's walking. It's talking. You've done a bang-up job. Bang-up job. And you should be very proud of that. Okay? Good. Good job, everybody. But next, it starts to get more complicated. At the moment, they are living very much in this artificial bubble that you have made for them. The home. The familial home. You control it. It's isolated. It's warm. It's safe. It's dry. Nothing can go too much wrong. As long as you're keeping a rough eye on them, everything's probably going to be absolutely fine. Well done. But then they start communicating with other little creatures. Other people have children. And they are all bastards. And you're going to watch that your child does not take on some of these bastard traits, like pushing and shoving and biting, which again is frowned upon. Again, slightly hilarious, but only if you don't have to clean up the mess afterwards. Slightly hilarious, only slightly. And you can only influence so much. When they go to like nursery and creches, whatever, and all that stuff, you're not there. Childcare is very much the equivalent of passing someone else a bomb and saying, just look after this, and just running away. But you can't see what they're getting into, what they're learning. But that's fine. That's fine. Because, you know, if you've raised the kid all right, it'll be all right. It should know a bit of right and wrong by then. It's fine. It's fine. You just need to nudge them back on the rails occasionally. No worries at all. And by nudging, I don't mean beat severely. I just generally mean push a little bit down the stairs. But, and this is where the but really comes in. School. Oh my God. All of a sudden, you are in a new world. They're meeting loads of new people. There's these other people who are becoming these parental figures, teachers. There's just all sorts of shit going on. And they learn things and they start growing very quickly. And you just realize, oh my God, how did you learn that? And one day you'll be at dinner and there's a little turn of speech they use, like, like fuxicle. And you're there thinking, where did you learn that? You're growing up so quickly. And then the real trauma begins. No parenting book is going to tell you about the real traumas of childhood. It's not separation anxiety. It's not irregular sleeping patterns. It's not picky eating. It's none of that shit. If you are a parent, you may already know to what I refer. One day, your child comes home from school. You do the ceremonial unpacking of the school bag. Out comes the flask with Pikachu on it. Out comes the lunchbox, half-eaten sandwich inside. Out comes the apple core. Why didn't you put the apple core in the lunchbox? I don't know, Dad. And then the next day, the same apple core. In fact, we had this discussion yesterday. Put it in the fucking box. But you know, you can get past that. And then your hand touches something in that bag. The first time, you're actually intrigued. But only the first time. You pull out a brightly coloured piece of paper. And it is an invitation to another child's birthday party. Oh, God, it's a pain in the arse. You've no idea. If you've not gone down this road yet, you've no idea. You've no idea. You got to get this other kid a present. That's fine. Get the wife to do it. You know, easy. But that's not the half of it. Especially when they're young, the first couple of years of this wave, this barrage of birthday parties, which in a summer can dominate most weekends. I kid you not. I kid you not. But when you take them, you've got to stay there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because you can't leave them. Now, my daughter's nearly 9 now. We're just past that stage. We can leave her. Awesome. But oh my God, from like 5 through to now, oh, Jesus Christ. You take it in turns, you know. But fuck me, the small talk and the bollocks. I'm not ashamed to say this. The last year's round, I just thought, bollocks to this. Took a book. You find a corner, you sit there, you read your book. I take my own bottle of water. People are offering me coffee, and I'm saying, no, thank you, I've got my water. To minimize necessity of interaction. MNOI. Minimize necessity of interaction. This must be the forefront of your mind at all times. When you get in there, find a corner. Find a safe spot with cover if possible. If there's a separate room at this venue, whatever it is, go there. Go there. Tell your child, I'm going to be there, and then you go there, and you stay there, and you hide, because you will thank me later. You won't listen. You'll think, oh, Andy, you're being rude. I'm just having a bit of, I'll have some coffee, and, oh, there's a sausage. Oh, I don't mind a sausage roll. And, oh, yes, what do you do for a living? Oh, God, you see, you're trapped now. What do you do for a living? It's begun. The inane bullshit conversation has begun. Welcome to parenting. Yesterday, I had to take my daughter to a birthday party. Now, it was one of the drop and leaves, as I've said. We're at the stage where it's drop and leave now. This is good. Here you go, get out the car. You race away. You get the fuck out of there as quick as you can. But you can't really. You would park up, you take you take the child to the door of the house or the venue, wherever this thing's happening, and, oh, thanks for inviting her, and, oh, yeah, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. What do you do for a living? The same as I did the last 2 years. You fucker. I'm fine. How are you? Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Now, contrary to what I said before about a child not realizing that you're basically humoring them, parents also don't realize it. Parents influence a child. A child is blank clay that a good parent molds. Unbeknownst to them, the child is also molding the parent. This is true. Parents dumb down. They can't help it. They cannot help it. They dumb down. They do. It's true. Anyway, so yesterday, take her to the party. Now, this party was at a friend of my daughter's father's house. Now, father and mother, gone their separate ways years ago. Fine. But I'd heard just before, like a couple of days ago, via one of the other parents, oh yeah, it's at the dad's house. He's back. He's back. Now, there's an ominous phrase. He's back. So instantly you're thinking, where's he been? What's he done? Oh my God, he's a kidnapper. Oh my God, he's a kidnapper. You're not going to the party. But soon rationality comes back into it. And you think, it could be anything. Basically, it could be anything. And another problem with being a parent is you hear so much via the childhood filter. So someone's told your kid who tells you, and by then it's become garbled. God forbid there's another link. Someone's told their friend who's friends with your daughter who tells you. Once you've got two kids in the link of information, you're in trouble. So anyway, when you hear he's back, I think, I'll take it with a pinch of salt. So we get to the party. It's a nice house. It's in the middle of nowhere. It was tricky to find. Stop the car, get out, there's already kids there. And thanks very much for having him, I say. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're welcome. Nice enough guy. And his new partner was there. And she was nice. She was obviously sort of running the show. She was the warmth. She was the kiddie-friendly one. And he was just not that type of fella. Fair enough. And I go, it's nice and quiet here. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you do what you want around here. And he goes, yeah. That's what I needed. After my trials and tribulations. And you're thinking, whoa, what the hell's that? It's like, So I couldn't help myself. And your mind's already there anyway because of the childhood chain of information a couple of days ago. So he goes, yeah, it's what I needed after my trials and tribulations. And I went, prison? Oh, dear. And he went, no, the army. And I went, oh, yeah. As if I know. Yeah. As if I know when I was in Nam. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, I'm embarrassed thinking back at it. Anyway, the point is, what was he playing at? We're on the lawn at a kid's party. Don't talk about your trials and tribulations. You've never met me before. I know for some people it's the only way they can communicate. He was just trying to find... That's his small talk. That was his what do you do for a living? How's so and such? That was his small talk. It's fine. It was just the tensest moment. And he was a very, very tense gentleman. I hope he doesn't listen to this because he probably could kill me. He could track me down and kill me. could find me by scent, probably. Not because I'm smelly, because he's that good. Oh, fuck me. What? My trials and tribulations. My trials and tribulations. Anyway, wow. Again, you see the problem. It is not the children that are the challenge of parenthood. No, 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 no. It's the other parents. It's like I went to another one not that long ago. Lovely, lovely family. And it was in one of those soft play centres. It was probably about a year ago, thinking about it, maybe even a year and a half. It was just like the tail end of when the kids were sort of appropriate for those sort of soft play centres. And the granddad kind of ran that show. And I get on very well with the granddad. He's a lovely man. But he doesn't half like to talk about anything. He's got no filter whatsoever. I don't know if it's the Irish in him, the American in him, the British in him, but he's got no filter. God's sake. So he used to be a teacher in a very poor area of the Philippines. And he was very politically involved there, very left-wing, trying to get aid, get schools together for street children. He's just a good guy. A really good guy. But nonetheless, mate, we are at a 6-year-old's birthday party. Stop talking about sexual abuse of street children, which he campaigned against. He worked bloody hard. I mean, he must have saved lives, directly or indirectly. He must have had such a positive impact on at least aspects of a community. And you've got to admire the guy. You really do. One of those people that became, very political over there, gained a lot of influence for his hard work. He should now be a CEO of a company or something like that. He's not. He's living under very modest means because he did the right thing. I mean, he sacrificed in many ways his own greed, if you like, for the better of others. I mean, wow. Most people wouldn't have the guts or the determination. But nonetheless, it's a fucking 6-year-old kid's party. Let's at least take it over to a corner. Let's not do it in the middle of the soft play. Oh dear. So again, nothing but respect for that man. But it's and one of the things with parents is when I lived abroad, it was interesting because there's this. Right. Okay. So my wife is Japanese, and we live in Chester. It's not Japan. So there's this weird kind of community of, oh, you're Japanese too. Then we are now friends. And my wife's not into that because inevitably, I mean, if we were in Japan, we wouldn't be friends. We're not the same sort of person. Just because we are now in a 20-minute drive radius of each other does not mean, and we all have the same origin, does not mean anything. And when I was in Japan, it was the same thing. There was this kind of, oh, you're white and speak English as a first language too. Let's have drinks. And it's just not the way it works. But there is that weird kind of snap of community. Parenting's similar in a way. These people who I'm describing, as nice as they are, probably aren't the sort of people I would normally spend much time with. But our kids are friends. Now we're friends. That's just the way it works. Our kids are mates in school. Now we know each other. Now we have to be friends. We have to talk to each other. So once again, MNOI. Now, there is a new challenge. Those that are paying attention may have already foreseen. Those that are parents may already have experienced. Going to other kids' parties is rough. But nowhere near as rough as hosting your own child's party. Oh, God. That's the worst. I mean, it's nuts. Because you have to be present the whole time. The shoe is very much on the other foot. And the parents come. And you must interact with them and make small talk. And you are hoping that they are also thinking, drop off, get out. That's fine. Come back in 2 hours. But they don't. Some of them like it. Fucking sadists. I swear to God this is true. They will A, want to interact, B, want to talk to you, and C, kind of take over sometimes. And you kind of feel like, that's fine, because I don't really want to do it. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you feel like a bit deflated. So you feel you have to like stamp your authority down. It's so strange. It's so strange how political it becomes. I remember once, a couple of years ago, didn't want to do it in the house. So we did her party, my daughter's party, at the local community centre, which meant there was vast capacity. It doesn't matter how many people you invite. You book the place. That's it. You could have 10 people or 100. It doesn't matter. So she went kind of nuts. Anyway, so it's a lot of kids. and I was totally out of my depth. Because it was expensive to hire the venue, we weren't hiring entertainers or nothing. Do it all yourself. But because of the size of the venue, there was expectations. They needed entertaining. So I tried to make some games, balloon-based games and all this. And then I had a masterstroke, the mummy game. It's where you pair them up and you give them a load of loo roll and they have to wrap it around each other. And the person who can make the best mummy wins. Completely arbitrary who wins. It doesn't matter. They love it and it keeps them quiet. So they did that, ran out of toilet paper in about 5 minutes. Panicked. My mother, who was luckily there, ran off to the shop to buy some more. Fine. Kept them busy for another 10 minutes. Brilliant. Okay, fine. All the other parents smiling at their kids having fun. I felt vindicated as a parent. I know how to entertain. Brilliant. But this one little shit. Little bastard kid. Bear in mind this community centre's at a church. Start scooping up all the discarded toilet roll and throwing it out of the door into the graveyard. That's an exaggeration. It wasn't a graveyard. It was a church grounds next to the graveyard. So I don't think any toilet roll made it to a grave. But all of a sudden, the parents are now... because you've so well entertained and orchestrated this game, and now looking to you to control it. And the kids are going nuts. Because when one kid starts doing something like that, they all want a piece of the action. What do? All of a sudden, you have this immense pressure. You want to scream at the kids, but you know that's not cool. So you want to just talk to them. Don't do that. That doesn't work. Oh my God, it was bad. It was bad. Now, I want to say that I took command of the situation, but I don't think I did. As memory serves, the child who was really driving all this, her mother stepped in. That's the way I remember it now. It wasn't that bad as the way I remember it now. I remember being so pleased when that party was over. I was so out of my element. You've no idea. Never forgiven that kid. Never forgiven that kid. I'm an adult. I'm a responsible adult, but I'm not above hating children. Not above it at all. I will hate a child. I'm sorry if that disappoints you. I'm sorry if I'm not a better man, but that's the way it fucking is. Okay, that's probably the worst it gets. I'm dreading the teenage years. You know, no doubt I'll have to post more podcasts about that and tips there, because I've already talked about the fact my daughter now sees through me and knows I'm no DIY man and so on with my ice cream tub toolbox. But when they get to a teenager and they see through you and they know you're full of neuroses and little inner lies and struggles, oh, that's going to get rough. But I'm not there yet. So I want to talk to you as we wrap up about one of the other constant struggles of parenting that the books do not tell you. The constant stream of artwork. That's right. They are drawing pictures left, right, and centre. There's a piece of paper, they will fill it with colour. Somehow. Even if there's no pencils, they will somehow find a way. They will rub it against a painted wall to gain an impression, a hue of colour, in a certain pattern, and then present it to you. Each and every time. And every time, you have to make a fuss. You feel like a cunt if you don't. So you do. And some of the time you are genuinely impressed, or pleased, or touched. Some of the times you're not. Sorry to be a dick, but it's true. Those ones are tricky. But that's fine. You can do that. We can all act a little bit. And sometimes you are genuinely, like I say, impressed, or pleased. That's fine. But sometimes you're not. I'm sorry, it's true. Sometimes that is, I mean, shit, look at that. You have designed a new vehicle for your teddy, and you've measured it all out, and you've designed it. That's fucking awesome. Sometimes, so you couldn't really be asked, could you? You've drawn a few circles on the back of a seat, and you've coloured them in an unusual pattern. What am I going to do with that? To be honest, I needed the receipt. It had more artistic integrity as a receipt. But you can't say that, because that's a cuntish thing to say. So you go with the game. So far, so good. Until you realise you're supposed to display these pieces of art. All of them. And before long, there will be a lot of them. You should see the walls of this lighthouse. They are like what you imagine the inside of an insane asylum are. If you threw in 10 packs of Crayola. And pretty soon, you're like, I've run out of space. And you're like, oh, should I get rid of this one? Oh, you don't want me to get... Okay, I won't get rid of it. It's fine. I won't get rid of it. It's okay. No, I love it. It's just I need some more space for this new one. Okay, fine. Well, okay, why don't I put this new one over the top of that one? Well, what do you want then? I have to put it somewhere. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Okay, listen, I've got to move some of them. So listen, you're going to have to choose. Which one shall I take down to make room? And honestly, they look at you like it's Sophie's choice. I swear to God. I swear to God. Advice for this situation? There is none. Sometimes you just got to be a cunt. Frankly, and this is true, one evening, just take a few of them down. They'll never know. It's the truth of it. It is the truth of it. We have a long box, like a plastic box, full of this stuff. And we write like the month and the year on it, like a nice little document, which is cool. You know, I like that. But also it's evidence, so that when she realizes what we're doing, we can say, no, we're documenting it. Look, we're keeping it watertight in this long box, this plastic long box under the bed. In conclusion, the lie is your greatest tool in the toolbox of parenting. Oh, really? It's a lie. You're just going along making the noises to appear that you are engaging. It's a lie, but it does the job. Do you hear that? That is sleeping. I'm not really sleeping. It's a lie. That is a noise you adopt when the baby cries at night. You've woken up, but you can't be arsed getting out of bed to look after it. Make that noise. Your wife, getting tired of your snoring, and awoken also, will get up and address the situation. Oh, I love it! Look, aren't you clever? Look at all the colours. It's a lie. When dealing with other parents. Oh, really? Oh, how are you? I don't give a shit. It's a lie. A good parent is a good liar. That's all you need to know. You're welcome. You won't find any of that advice in the books. The only place you will find that type of advice, that type of cold-hearted, blood-minded honesty, is here on the Night Lighthouse. Tell your friends. Come back and listen again. Subscribe, you cunts. Leave some comments. Email me. Tweet me. I'm not sure I'm even going to bother starting saying all this, because at the end of the day, that's what Google's for. And if you like it, you'll Google, you'll find it. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll hit subscribe. I mean, do you need me beating you over the head saying, email me, subscribe? Probably not. So I shall not waste any more of your precious time. If you are a parent, I hope this was useful. If you're not a parent, I hope this was a suitable warning. It's been lovely sharing this time with you all once again. I am grateful whenever anyone listens. Let's do it again soon. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.